All right, what is this? Alright, so spoiler alert, we're doing a beam swap to this car. So why are we doing a beam swap to this car? The 4A in this gave up. There was a hole in the engine block. We compression and leak down tested this guy. 0% leak on all cylinders. Compression was like 220, 230, which is excellent. From the importer, already had a Toyota lightweight flywheel in it. My timing covers off to inspect all the timing components. A good sign was this belt was recently replaced. If you guys can see, that factory yellow line on the belt is almost not even worn. So yeah, after the mock-up, I gave the measurements to my favorite, well, pretty much my favorite shop in San Jose, South Bay Driveline. We are going to run a one-piece drive shaft. I wonder why no company stepped up and made aftermarket plug-and-play beam swap AE86 headers. But then now I get it, because what swap mounts are you running and in what position do you put them in? So yeah, a few other fun things about this car. These rims are pretty rare. I think they're Tomcats. They actually used to belong to Battle Garage Grant, I believe. I built this diff for this customer a long time ago. Yeah, you can see this guy. Well, I guess that was a bad, this doesn't show it's solid, right? But yeah, you guys, you gotta believe me, it's solid. Yeah, really expensive taillights. Really expensive. What am I doing? Why don't I just open the door? Again, one of my favorite parts about this car is probably the full weld-in Sonoma spec cage. And here we are. Yeah, you can totally see, even with the subframe spacers, how low the lower oil pan hangs from the bottom of the car. Without these spacers, I've seen on another customer beam swap car, the angle of the sway bar and the tension rod gets really close or really off, and when you lower the subframe, you need to lower these guys, you know, an equal or adequate amount. Hopefully you guys can see that fitting right there, how close that sits to the pan. And then that portion, thank you, Spool and Phil welded this up for us because I was a dum-dum and cut too far. Checking out the rack clearance. We got the SQ Speedo adapter via Battle Garage, so that means we could probably plug in the Speedo cable already. Beam swap trans mount from JSP, another work of art. But for you guys doing a beam swap, beware whoever's shifter relocation you're using, make sure it actually clears the tunnel too. I was really excited this week because we technically got the car connected, right? From engine all the way back to the rear diff. 3-inch one-piece drive shaft for the J160, back to the factory AE86 differential. Serviceable, big U-joints, still can use the OEM drive shaft bolts. This drive shaft safety loop prevents it so the drive shaft doesn't go all the way down and catapult the car. Goes directly, we got a brand new OEM Toyota fuel filter. Fuel pressure regulator on the return side, the vacuum port's not needed. Beam swap coil radiator from Battle Garage. Coil radiator, why don't you just provide a radiator cap? This is really ridiculous. All around this, we have foam because you want the airflow to go through the radiator, not out, up through the sides. Even with the reinforcement on that excessive throttle bracket, you can see it bends a whole bunch still. In the piece de resistance, the JSP reverse lockout shifter. We actually had to basically clearance up this section right in here. The amount of clearancing wasn't actually enough, but I didn't want to destroy the body too much or modify the body too much, so I know this exhaust is ugly as hell. People on Instagram have constantly DM'd me like, what the hell's going on with this exhaust? But trust me, we're getting something way nicer. One more time, how low this oil pan hangs down in comparison to the subframe. I'm really close to telling the owner that he needs to raise up this car because he likes to run his car super low. Yeah, so low in fact that when we lower the lift, his wheels actually don't touch the ground. I found this Y section, so 2-inch slit fit to 2.5-inch outlet. These 2.5-inch flanges are from Summit Racing. And pretty cool, this thing came with a bung for O2 sensor also. So I found this for a steal on eBay, which completely worked for us and super lucky. I'm going to weld in some slit It's like some slip fit springs or something, just like the Martellius headers have. So yeah, I got the first runner slip fit in there. And yeah, last night I got the first runner completed. Again, it's not the prettiest thing, nor am I the prettiest person in the world, but alright, got the headers finished welded. This is going to be a slip fit section right here. I know these are painted with header paint already, but just going to take off a little bit, weld on our tabs, and put on our springs. If you wonder why there's a heavy kink right there, it's because the steering shaft right there shoots straight into the header. So yeah, no nonsense here. These just take OEM donut gaskets. That's the face of no nonsense right there. The idle air control valve from Panic. OEM steering shaft bolts. So after a deep dive, not into your girlfriend, but into Google, found this Lexus part. 3.25 90-degree silicone connector. We were able to reuse the customer's OEM air filter. Apparently this was on borrow, so we gotta switch the filter out again. I also wish that this section was longer so we could go out more, but it sounds like we're getting a longer cone filter. I know I've ordered these 90-degree silicone couplers with long legs before. Horrendously expensive, like $70. Again, priority one is just to get this car running. Okay, well, false alarm. You saw Grant from Battle Garage graciously lent us his time to basically a starting base map setup, and we actually got this thing to start and idle. As you can see, that map still needs a little bit of work. We're not anywhere close yet, but it was really great to see that this thing, after so much hard work, finally running and idling. So, in short, when the engine needs to idle up, this guy will turn on and introduce extra air into the engine to let it idle up. Every time the owner wanted to buy this new special shiny thing, like all the JSP stuff on here, I had to kind of reiterate that our #1 goal was to get the engine in and running. A wire harness comes to us via Bermuda Wire. He's local to us in the Bay Area. Sensor provision. When Grant was on the laptop, we got to see the fan turn on and off. So yeah, I'm happy with this single fan from Excessive. So funny enough, the customer bought us pizza, so all of us too busy eating pizza should actually have been watching the fuel pressure gauge. And so if we come here, every time I would notice when the car was cranking, it'd stay at 60, and then once the car started to idle, it would like peter out and die, and I could see the fuel pressure drop. Well, we found out there was an output where the fuel pump was only on in the start position, where we actually needed it in start and run. So basically, again, not the expert, but needed to change one of the outputs so that the fuel pump would run in the run position. This has been day 2, but a very long first and second day 2, many hours into this already to just get this thing to start.
And I've been tired every time because it's always been a Friday night. It's now 11 o'clock.
The good side effect of working on this, the customer bought us pizza. The bad side effect, the pizza distracted us from monitoring the car while trying to start it.
Yeah, once we got the output set up, and I just had a very rough fuel table they put in, just kind of from experience. It pretty much started and idled after that.
Despite working together, I don't think I've ever had a real chance to sit down with Grant and talk things over out here. So let's watch him pick apart my work. I can't imagine, you know, people who did this when these were not popular, when there was no bolt-on stuff for this.
Yeah, not the easiest of swaps. I'm a lot more familiar with $20 swaps, and that's like dead simple in comparison. Because well, one of the biggest challenges is getting the header to work. And so you've got an OEM header here, and then you got to make a custom downpipe to mate up to the exhaust. And even then, it's not like you can just make a downpipe for these, because there's a variety of different swaps on the market, and some are adjustable as well. So you were explaining to me that the position of the engine also changes, so therefore you can't have just an off-the-shelf downpipe.
Sticker, believe it or not, adds a lot to the engine bay.
It definitely, yeah, it definitely helps to clean things up for sure.
I've had plenty of cars, including this one, where this sticker was missing.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to guess when you're on the side of the road.
Did you get maintenance parts for this thing, like timing belt stuff? And...
I did. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So from you before on another customer car, full OEM beams engine gasket kit. I believe we got timing belt, tensioner, a handful of seals. Oh, yeah, this PCV seal was for sure from you guys.
Are putting in beams in, this engine's going to flow a lot more air than a 4AG pretty much ever will, unless it's like very special, like house grant or something.
So yeah, official, it runs, starts, drives. But yeah, once again, appreciate all the support so far, you guys. Make sure to check out the new BG windbreaker and the new BG hat, although you gotta get it on the website first. Email support and bug them.